Hello and welcome to The Print. I'm Snehesh Alex Philip. Here I've often said that at The Print, we believe in getting you stories that matter, not from this fine office that we have, but from the ground. And today I have with me two such colleagues of mine, Ananya Bhardwaj, who covers the Home Ministry for us, and our photojournalist Suraj Bisht, who are traveling to Manipur and reporting from there to get you the stories that really matter about what's really happening in Manipur. Uh, Thank you, Ananya and Suraj, for doing what you do. My first question to you, Ananya, what is the situation right now in Manipur? And correct me if I'm wrong, this is your fourth visit to the state, right?
So, Snehesh, right now, as we speak, there is a curfew that is on in Imphal, in fact, in the entire valley area. The internet has been snapped. So, there'll be a lag also as we speak, and we have shifted some 3, 4 locations to see where we can get the best internet to speak to you. We gave, in fact, an undertaking to the hotel saying that we will not misuse the internet before they gave access to this, which is why we're able to record this today. So the situation is quite bad. In fact, every evening we see that in the Imphal Valley, especially in the area where the Raj Bhavan is, the Kangla Fort is, local students, a lot of people gather and start pelting stones, and which is why the security forces have to resort to pelting of tear gas, and there is some lathi charge that is happening every other day. Almost in the last 1 week since we've been here, more than 70 to 80 people have been injured from both sides in these clashes, police, security forces, as well as the civilians. And in fact, a very worrying trend is what we were told by sources in the police is that this time, protests are not new to the valley, protests are not new to Manipur. But what is very worrying this time is that these protesters are using things like iron bullets as in they what they do is that they cut an iron pipe and make cylindrical shaped bullets with it by sharpening its edges, which they are throwing with slingshots and marbles, rounded stones are being thrown. In fact, in some cases, the police said that even 2 to 3 rounds were also fired from the side of the protesters. So now this is quite a worrying trend. Why? Because number one, it is violent. They are also, in fact, throwing petrol, what is called a Molotov cocktail, where you petrol bomb, right? So yeah, that also they are throwing, which is causing a lot of destruction. And why they say this is a worrying trend is that the students who are in class 10, 11, 12, they're all juveniles, are at the forefront of this protest. Now, they are not saying that the students are the one who are using these, who are basically using these dangerous things, hurling them at the police. They are saying that these protesters who are miscreants, who are outsiders, this is an entirely politically motivated kind of a protest. So these people are putting students as a front. So they are the ones who are basically getting injured in this entire process, while they are the ones who are firing, throwing all these things from the back. So that is one thing which is of great worry as far as the law and order situation in Imphal, in the valley, especially in Manipur, is concerned. And this, of course, is going on simultaneously apart from the kind of incidents that we have all been reporting and hearing about, firing in the fringe areas, in the border areas, that is happening on a daily basis. There are crude bombs that are being thrown. Then there have been instances of rocket launchers. Of course, these are all indigenous rocket launchers being thrown from the hillside and the valley. 5 of them, in fact, have been recovered by the police from several areas. So this is what the situation is. It's quite tense, not just in the valley, but also in the fringe areas, in the border areas, and Manipur is on the boil once again.
Well, you've said it right. Manipur is in the boil, but just for our viewers, you mentioned about the fact that Imphal Valley is witnessing large-scale protests by the students and all. What is this protest all about? What are they protesting for? And correct me if I'm wrong, but Imphal, it's a sad reality that has happened in Manipur where the state has got divided between the Meiteis and the Kukis. And Imphal Valley per se is more Meitei dominated, if I'm not mistaken, Ananya.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. The state has been completely divided. This has been the case for the last 1.5 years. In fact, when the first spate of violence began, that was when the mass immigration, happened from both sides, not just here. So all the cookies who were living in the valley went to the hills, and the ones who were living in the hills came, and the Metis who were living in the hills came to the valley, and which is why there are so many relief camps that have been set up across the state, where almost 50 to 55,000 people are living right now, in deplorable conditions, if I must say. So that is the situation right now, and of course, it is completely divided. Valley just has Metis, and hills just now have cookie population. Now, coming to your question on what are these protests about? So there are two significant demands here by the locals and students, etc., who are protesting all Metis. Is that two key demands? One is that the Director General of Police, who's Rajiv Singh, should go back. Central forces should go back. The in charge of this entire state should be CM Viren Singh, and the security advisor who has been appointed by the center to basically coordinate with all the security forces, police in the state, who has been here since 4th of May, should also go back. That's Mr. Kuldeep Singh. So these are the four key demands. Apart from that, then protests. The demands also differ from place to place. Like in Thobal, which is an area which is dominated by the opposition parties. They say that even CM is a failure, so he should go back. So memorandums also differ from place to place. But three key demands that they have, which are common, are that the central forces should go back, the Director General of Police should go back, and the advisor, who is Mr. Kuldeep Singh, who has been here since 3rd of May, should also be sent back, and the charge should be given to the Chief Minister.
Well, that's a very surprising element because, this is a state that is ruled by the BJP government. The center is ruled by the BJP here. And the CM at the end of the day is in control of the police at least. And correct me if I'm wrong, this police chief was also changed last year, right?
Yes,
There was a different
yes.
police officer
After after the clash,
if I'm not
it was a
mistaken, was a cookie police
cookie.
officer.
Yes, it was a cookie police chief, and the argument was that to head the police chief, there has to be a neutral person who is neither a cookie nor a Methi, or even not even from Manipur. So that is why, because at that time, in fact, we had reported extensively that there was a clear division even in the police. So the police, in fact, on the ground started calling themselves cookie police and Methi police. A lot of cookie policemen who were posted and deployed in the valley actually had gone missing from work. So they left. The police stations were empty. They left for the hills, and similar situation panned out in the hills as well. Whoever Methi was appointed in those areas, in the cookie areas, came back to the valley. So it was after a lot of persuasion and telling them that things will come back to normal, that these people, these officers, of not really officers, but mainly from the lower constabulary, inspector rank and below, these are the people who really left the ground. So which is why the lawlessness, the chaos was so apparent in the state at that point. And but now, speaking to us, the DG says that this was the case, but now it's been many months that the police, in fact, has been working together to ensure that the situation gets normalized. But we have the facts in front of us right now. The situation is extremely tense.
Thanks, Ananya, for that. Suraj, this is your fourth visit to Manipur, and you've traveled with other, colleagues of yours. Do you see a change in Manipur per se? Now you've traveled across the length and breadth with others, and including with Ananya. What is your experience like this time?
They both have sophisticated equipments, to use guns and everything. Other side have pumpy guns, Uh, one spokesperson told us they have pumpy guns. They made bigger pumpy guns which can attack 8 to 15 kilometers, you know, but we called it rocket launcher.
Rocket, yeah.
Yeah. So दोनों साइड ही मतलब ऐसा चल रहा है एंड लाइक मैम एसपी ऑफिस के इन्होंने अटैक कर रहे थे एंड देन दे कॉट मी एंड सेड कि डोंट टेक अ वीडियो ऑफ आवर फेसेस अदरवाइज दे विल कॉट अस. सो ये सब दोनों साइड्स में चल रहा है. एंड एक प्रेग्नेंट लेडी भी इंजर्ड हुई थी इस इंसिडेंट के बीच में, जिनका बेबी का डेथ हो गया है, 9 months प्रेग्नेंट। एंड यहाँ पे बहुत ही डेली का ये चल रहा है इंसिडेंट, जो कि एंड इंटरनेट बैन है, तो इसलिए लोगों के बीच में ये न्यूज आ नहीं पा रही है इतना।
तो जैसे आपने
In
बोला कि
fact,
आपको
Suraj
मना,
was the one who was at outside the SP office. Sorry, समझ नहीं आया स्नेहेश, फिर से बोलो।
no, no, Ananya, please continue. I was just going to ask a question to Suraj, but please chip in and say what you wanted to say.
No, I was just saying that Suraj, in fact, was there in Thobal the day we landed. The moment we landed, we got to know that there's a protest going on in Thobal. So this was outside the office of the DC and the SP. So a lot of people had gathered there throwing stones. A lot of people got injured in that protest as well. So in fact, he has been covering it from the ground since day one with me. In fact, he was one of the first people who had come with Moshmi. Moshmi, my colleague, had come to Manipur in the initial phase. I think in second week of May. So they were the ones who traveled the length and breadth of the state to really get the stories from the initial spell of violence that started.
So, Suraj, you've been there as a video journalist and as a photographer. You take excellent pictures. लेकिन आपने और भी एरियाज कवर किए, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एरियाज कवर किए, आपने मेरे साथ कश्मीर ट्रैवल किया हुआ है, आपने और जगह रिपोर्ट किया हुआ है। तो ये मणिपुर में क्या चैलेंजेस दिखते हैं आपको? आपको मतलब कितना डिफिकल्ट होता है? हमारे व्यूअर्स को बताइए कि कितना डिफिकल्ट होता है ये और कितना रिस्की होता है ये। लाइक मैंने देखा है कि अनन्या जो रिपोर्ट कर रही थी उसने एक जैकेट पहना हुआ था, हेलमेट पहना हुआ था और वो प्रेस के स्टिकर्स लगाए हुए थे कि आइडेंटिफाई करे कि वो प्रेस के है, ना वो मेहती है ना वो कुकी है। लेकिन क्या चैलेंजेस होते हैं, क्या कितना डिफिकल्ट होता है ये?
जैसे कि मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा, लास्ट टाइम मैं सोनल के साथ भी गया था, जो कि सूरज चांदपुर बिष्णुपुर एंड उसके बीच में है, जो सूरज चांदपुर के बीच में बफर जोन पर। सो वहाँ फायरिंग चल रही थी एंड देन वी वेंट देयर एंड उन्होंने हमें, आर्मी वालों ने रोका एंड उन्होंने हमें कहा जल्दी से कार से बाहर आओ एंड पीछे आ जाओ, बिकॉज बुलेट दे यूजिंग स्नाइपर्स एंड हमारे पीछे जो वॉल्स में है ना, उनके वहां तक उनकी बुलेट्स आती। सो ये बड़ा चैलेंजिंग था, क्योंकि हमारे पास कुछ जैकेट्स भी नहीं थी एंड सेफ्टी इक्विपमेंट्स नहीं थे, गैजेट्स नहीं थे, हेलमेट्स नहीं थे। सो हमें अपनी सेफ्टी का भी ध्यान रखना था, साथ ही साथ जो हमारे साथ जाते हैं उनका भी ध्यान रखना है एंड पिक्चर्स भी लेने हैं। वी नीड गुड पिक्चर्स, वीडियोस टू शो अवर पब्लिक कि हम कैसे कवर कर रहे हैं ये सब। एंड देन जो बर्न कर रहे हैं हाउसेस वगैरह, जो स्टार्टिंग में जब मैं आया था तो हाउस बर्न कर रहे थे, मुझे लोगों ने पकड़ा भी था। इनफैक्ट आर्मी ने मुझे पकड़ लिया था एक बार कि आप यहाँ कैसे आ गए, यहाँ पे एरिया इतना अच्छा नहीं है, मतलब आप सेफ नहीं होंगे। बट दिस इज आवर वर्क टू शो पब्लिक कि व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द ग्राउंड एंड इट इज वेरी चैलेंजिंग फॉर अस।
No, no. As I said in the beginning, I'm sure the viewers also thank you for traveling to these restive conflict zones and reporting from there and getting the ground reports from the actual ground itself. Ananya, coming back to you, you mentioned about this whole division that is happening, and you have a chief minister of a state who's now gone to the governor and asked for the central forces to be pulled out, right? And what I mean by central forces is the army and the Assam rifles, right? And plus the CAPFs that have been deployed. But the CAPFs usually come under the state police. The Assam rifles and the army do not. So why is this happening? Why is there a distrust between the central forces and the state forces? And why is the government trying to play this, the state government seeing it as two different weighing scales?
This is a very relevant question, Snehesh. In fact, I've been speaking to so many people just to get some clarity, some sort of facts as to why is it happening. Because, like you mentioned in the beginning, that it's a BJP ruled state, so the chief minister is their own man. They are the ones who have actually sent the director general of police. They are the ones who have sent. I mean the center. The center has sent the DGP. The center has sent Mr. Kuldeep Singh, who's the advisor. Then why is it that there is such a discord between the chief minister and these two officials who have been sent by the center. So in fact, we did meet a lot of officials, and they say that the CM wants that the control. There are only two solutions to this problem. One is whether they remove him and put president's rule, and then they do whatever, or the central forces retreat and they give the state the full charge of the state to him, so that he can do what needs to be done to resolve the issue. But clearly, there's complete lack of clarity as far as the center is concerned as to what they really want to do in Manipur, because we have not heard anything from the home ministry. All we hear is that things will become normal. We are working on the situation we're working on it to get better. Then they also do these things in between. They pulled out two battalions of Assam rifles in between, saying that they'll be deployed to Jammu, which again created this suspicion that probably the center is giving into the demands of Metis of pulling out central forces. So these are the things. Every action of the center is being watched very closely, and whatever they do has implications. Now, in fact, this entire drone episode, or these crude rockets that were thrown in areas including Moira, in fact, how did this begin? So when we spoke to officials on the ground, they said there are a couple of factors. One is that there was a lull of 4 months. The demands of the cookies, being a separate administration, was not being heard. The center told them that their representatives, that there'll be talks, but in the last 7 months, the representatives have not met at all. So there was a status quo. So they want, something was required to be done. Then second thing is that this withdrawal of the Assam rifles from the two areas in the buffer zones, one being Bishnupur, Churachandpur, that was not received very well by the people in the hills. They thought that now the center is basically completely with the CM Biren Singh, because he has been demanding removal of central forces. So there's a lot of misinformation, lot of these conspiracy theories doing the rounds. But what causes the most trouble is that when these conspiracy theories do the rounds, then people get agitated. And since the center is not making anything clear, they're not giving any statement, they're not reaching out to any of these stakeholders, they're not doing any talks. So there's a lot of there's no clarity even in the minds of people as to what is going to happen, and what is the possible solution of this problem. So each and every person thinks that ab ye mere piche aa raha hai, ab ye mere piche aa raha hai. Cookies will think that the Metis are after me, they are laying in ambush, they are preparing weapons, so even I have to do that for my defense, because they don't trust the security forces, they don't trust the government. So that mistrust is what is fueling these episodes of violence that we see every now and then in Manipur. In fact, now they say that, in fact, security officials themselves said, now it appears that they have gotten used to the cycle of violence. So they say, ha, hoga, abhi chalega 10 din, uske baad there'll be again, peace for some time, and then it'll erupt again. So that's the state that Manipur is in right now.
That's quite a bad state to be in, and when the security agency, security establishment, as you said, start, accepting the cycle of violence, then it's really bad news. But Ananya, while Manipur has been burning for the last 1.5 years, what is happening in Manipur also has ramifications on the northeast, on the other states in the northeast, right? Especially, the whole issue of the Naga thing that comes up. In your sense, what is the sense that is this, since you cover the home ministry also, is the center looking into it? But you mentioned that the center is not really taking a hands-on approach towards Manipur.
Absolutely not. We have, like I said, we have not heard anything in the last 7 months. There have not been a single meeting between the stakeholders. Yes, there have been meetings in the home ministry between the officials and the home minister, but that's about it. But to bridge this gap that has been created over 1.5 years, so much violence has happened. More than 260 people have died. 50,000 people are living in relief camps. This divide has really, widened over the period of time, and nothing is being done to really bridge that gap. Right now, what we hear from security forces is that everybody is playing their own politics. Everybody is just have their own vested interests. All parties have their own vested interests, and in that process, the public, the common man, is who's suffering in Manipur.
Well, thank you so much, Ananya, for, it was a pleasure talking to you and very surprising, while we read your reports and all, and when I say we, I mean the viewers and the
So yeah,
readers, to hear you talk and explain these nuances on the ground is simply brilliant. And thank you for all of this. Thank you, Ananya and Suraj. I know that you have an important meeting that you have to rush to, and you had given me only 20 minutes, so I've taken up your time. But thank you once again, and continue to get us the reports from the ground. Thank you, both of you.
thank you, Snehesh. Thank you.